Okay, good morning, everybody. It is 10:40 according to my clock. So I see that we have 81 people in the session, and I'm excited for everyone to be here. I have a massive amount of information to disseminate, so we are going to be going at a pretty fast rate of speed. And just know that you can always reach out to me and I can send you the deck, or I can give you bits and pieces from this deck. But everything that I'm going to talk about in this deck is free for either from Microsoft or is legislatively funded for free for you. So buckle up, because here we go. I need to be seeing my presentation view so I know where I'm at. All right. What you get. So I first just want to let everybody know that there are industry recognized credentials provided through legislative funding to all schools in Washington. The program called Imagine Academy through the state offers exams, curriculum, software, and support. And CCI Learning is your point of contact for that support. So everything that we do is free and is legislatively funded to you. There are MOS exams, Microsoft Technology Associate exams, Microsoft Certified Fundamental exams, and the Microsoft Certified Educator exams. The MTA exams, as you'll see on the next slide, are going to have some programming exams that you could use however you see fit. Curriculum is also offered for free. And then again, any software that you might need is also offered through the state. So get a hold of us if you have any questions, and we will walk you through every step of the way, or connect you to the people who can walk you through every step of the way. This is the overview of exams that are available through the MTA program. You can see at the bottom, there's a JavaScript, and my little red marks are off, but block-based language is no longer available. Python is available. JavaScript is available, HTML, CSS, and Java. Those are only good through June 30th of 2022. But once you have taken them and passed them, they are valid for 2 years. So still a great free resource for you as a CS teacher to use as any type of exam you want. So reach out to us and we can get you going with that. The next slide talks about the importance of the skills. So I think anybody in this session is probably pretty much already bought into the fact that computer science skills are important and that they lead to good jobs. And so I always like to include a little bit of information in my decks that are good for administration. So you can see here that not only MOS has exponential jobs based on any other skill available, but the MTA servers, so that's Microsoft Technology Associate, any of those server jobs, or and then straight up CS Python, if you look up that, the jobs are just through the roof. This is a new slide that I brought into the deck because I feel it's relative. It's projecting out into the future through 2025. You can see that CS jobs are on the rise, and CS is being drawn into almost all technology genres and jobs. So not only are the skills of computer science, but also the pedagogy and processes behind computer science are important for students to learn and to absorb and implement into any job role they will have. Another slide, more information, perceived skills and skills groups with growing demand by 2025. And you can't see the legend because my captions are in the way, but this is a great slide also for some admin buy-in for you. And I'm not going to go heavy into the interpretation of these slides. I'm just providing these for you to have so that you can help boost the meat behind and the reason behind your program. Another slide for the top 15 skills for 2025. You can see right there, analytical thinking and innovation, top skill. And that is one of the things that we teach in CS. So these are some strong skills. All top 15 of these are taught throughout the CS progress. Progress is the wrong word. Pathway. When you teach computer science, you are teaching these skills along with the hard fundamentals of syntax. So, all right. A few things that we will specifically talk about in the next few slides: why computer science education is fundamental, why creating a new computer science curriculum framework was important for students, and how in particular, the Microsoft Computer Science Curriculum Toolkit provides guidance for schools and for school systems seeking to improve what they've got going on in their computer science program. This is a new toolkit that Microsoft has put out for computer science. It will blow your mind when you actually sit down and look at it. I'm not going to cover every single piece of it, but in this deck, if you want me to send this deck to you, and I did try to create a bit.ly in the end of it, but bit.ly is having issues this weekend, and I wasn't able to create a link, but there is an entire K-12 framework that Microsoft has built for you based on free offerings, free clubs, free curriculum, free online resources. They have put it all together in one framework, so it's really powerful. So first of all, we know computer science is a fundamental skill. Those of us in this room, I don't think this is preaching to the choir as far as I'm concerned with this point. A few more points about jobs specifically related to computer science. 149 million more digital jobs will be created by 2025. Privacy, data analysis, cybersecurity, artificial intelligence. We all know that those are the up and coming jobs. Now, a lot of times people try to segregate computer science or put it into its own pathway all by itself, but really computer science is combined with everything else that we do and teach and every job pretty much. So it's combined with STEM and computational thinking. We integrate CS into other subject matters such as mathematics, or you can use it as a standalone curriculum in secondary schools. So various ways that you can apply CS into different programs. Equity is the hot topic of the day. And so providing equitable access is important. And we all run into the same challenges, it seems like, but especially with computer science, because some systems don't implement the curriculum well. There might be a lack of computing courses that are appropriate for all the students' needs and abilities. Other systems limit the offerings to certain ages or optional courses. And so there are implications to this. In the UK, only 11% of secondary students choose to study computer science. Only 1 in 5 of those were female. So in the US, only 23% of girls select an advanced level CS course, and only 18% actually enroll in a bachelor's program. So equity is a big situation as far as CS is involved. Another barrier that we run into is professional development needs. So a lot of us are given a CS class when we've never had anything to do with it, so we lack the confidence. We're insufficiently prepared. I know that personally that happened to me. I actually drove that in my district. I knew we needed CS. Nobody taught it. I didn't know much about it, but I knew that there were a bunch of free resources out there, and so we just dove in. And then CS graduates don't necessarily become teachers because they can make a lot more money in the field. So that's an issue. And then a lot of the CS professionals who are really good coders, they lack the pedagogical skills needed to teach. So when you bring a CS person into the teaching atmosphere, there's an issue at times. So Microsoft came up with a new approach to that. They started with a new spiral to mastery, and it builds knowledge on fundamental concepts, revisits and refines these concepts throughout the school career, and then connects instruction to student development stages. They have been very definitive on this process, and the new tool is called the Microsoft Computer Science Curriculum Toolkit, or the Microsoft Computer Science Framework, MCSF. It includes internal and external experts who helped put this together, Microsoft's expertise, academic research, literature review, discussion with all kinds of education officials. So this has been very well thought out and very well put together. So the MCSF also reflects rapid technological changes. So it's very adaptive. It also adheres to tenets of quality instruction and design and brain research, which I think is hard to come by. So many of you who are probably sitting in this session have been to a computer science session with me where I have presented to you curriculum that you can put into your classroom. But a lot of the feedback that I've received is that it might be missing the collaboration piece, or it might be missing some other principles or instructional design. It's great just teaching the semantics of computer science, but this new Microsoft computer science framework meets all of that. So it follows the understanding by design, aims to build expertise in computer science, and is just a very powerful framework. It also improves equity in computing education. So it weaves in equity. It allows non-native language speakers to demonstrate competency, uses real-world social relevant problems to engage females and underrepresented minorities, includes unplugged computing activities, provides varied approaches, sorry about that, to each topic to differentiate the instruction. And I know that what I'm talking about here is a lot of fluff, but I just want you to know what it's undergirded by. And this is just a fun slide that kind of is representative of everything involved in the MCSF. So again, links to real-world societal problems, incorporates student-centered approaches, rooted in constructivism. So and social constructs helps them bring that all together with just the knowledge of computer science. And then the one thing that you can't see because of my captions is references the UN Sustainable Development Goals. So helps tie in globally as well. Okay, so now down to the meat of some things. Here are the domains that are involved in the framework: software development, robotics and animation, data and AI, platforms and cloud, human-computer interaction, and cybersecurity. They are housed within 3 overarching themes: working with code, working with data, and working with computers. And then they've each got subdomains under them, and all of this to build expertise in the computer science. And then this is the way that the framework is structured. So you can see those underlying scaffolding structures for each of the 6 categories underneath of the 3 overarching domains. Phases, there are 4 phases: primary education, lower secondary education, upper secondary education, and I can't read that bottom one. So sorry for the captions. I think that they are causing an issue. But you can see the age and the grade levels attached to those bands. So that kind of helps you in your planning. It follows a spiraling curriculum, primary education and the foundational level at the bottom, with lower secondary, upper secondary, and then that top level was post-secondary or business level application of computer science. So this is just one example of the structure of the framework, and the chosen terminology are designed to make computer science curricula more appealing to the learners. The framework uses descriptors that are engaging for learners and lend themselves to project or problem-based approaches. So reviewing one of the learning guides helps visualize the structure. So as I discuss the different components, they'll be circled in red and it'll help you follow along. At the top, we have the organizational level and the domain. And then we have, whoops, sorry, wrong button. Big ideas. The big ideas underneath the domains, they represent the learning pathway and continue throughout the curriculum from age 5 to age 18. So the big ideas would be known as themes in our traditional curriculum. Then each big idea contains big questions, which are similar to modules of learning and specify the main subject that students will explore. And finally, each big question has learning goals, concepts, and challenges, and supporting content. The challenges lead to specific computational thinking, data literacy, and design thinking competencies. So quite a bit of power in the fact that you don't have to design this yourself. It's all been designed for you. And you're going to freak out when you see the framework, how it's laid out and how beautifully they have provided everything. So we all know that early exposure is crucial. Learning computer science at later stages of schooling is a little more challenging because students are a little more set in their thought processes, or I would say a little more set in their limitations of thinking. So the sooner you introduce it to them, the better. And they get a better understanding of what concepts they need to grasp at which age and how to progressively increase their mastery. So the MCSF uses relevant materials that are all free at a certain point in time. And if you need help gaining access to any of this, make sure that you reach out. These are the age levels that they are proposing for each of these different platforms. And my friend Peter Doherty with Prodigy Learning is in a session. Maybe you were torn between going to my session at this time and his session at this time because you really wanted to dive deep into the coding in Minecraft that's used on the Minecraft Education Edition platform. And so at the end of this presentation, I've included a few slides of his as well. All right, so here is a piece of this color-coded chart is the best visual to explain how a student progresses through the domains, exploring the big ideas. Through phase 1 and 2, students explore a set of learning objectives for 3 domains. In level 1 and 2, for example, students explore all 6 domains, half in level 1 and half in level 2. This structure repeats itself until level 10. In phase 3, the framework recommends 6 labs that cover all 6 domains in level 10, followed by 6 short open-ended projects in level 11, referred to as sprints. While in phase 4, the framework specifies 18 labs in level 12, followed by 3 longer-term open-ended projects called pitches in the final year. The MCSF curriculum is based on the expectation that phases 1 and 2 are compulsory, while phases 3 and 4 are optional. In short, the framework is designed so that all kids in levels 1 through 9 receive computer science instruction. Students in levels 10 through 13 can elect to study the subject itself. So I hope that's making sense. And this is a reflection that we could have done. I left this in the deck so that you could reflect on this yourself, but we are just not going to have time exactly to go through this. And I'm quick just going to look and see if I have any questions in the chat, and I don't. So I'm just going to keep rolling on. So there's a lot of flexibility that encourages local adaptation with this framework. One of the, it's the last benefit I'm going to discuss, but not the least for sure. Adopting this toolkit, it allows flexibility in your district rather than prescriptive one-size-fits-all curriculum framework. So it offers guidance on topics and their sequence, suggests projects and lab work, provides links to Microsoft and other high-quality learning resources. And that's one of the things that I really liked about this framework is that you're not just locked into a Microsoft product. This is about getting kids into computer science, not about advertising or promoting or pushing a specific Microsoft product. And then leaves room for modifications and additions. So just so you know, I've left this slide in that there's a link directly to the Microsoft Computer Science Curriculum Toolkit here on this slide. Of course, you can always email me and I'll just send you these particular links themselves. But the CS Toolkit comes with everything that you need. It comes with a full day professional development deck. It comes with all the links. It comes with the framework. It also comes with an hour-long deck that you can use to train your leaders with. So it's been very well packaged for you to implement in a district or at a district level, or as a teacher, just to go in and say, I'm at this level, I need this domain, and these are the resources I want to use in my classroom. All right. Like I said, I have got a ton of information that is all free to you that I am working to disseminate to you. Does anybody have any quick questions that you might? I see some questions coming in the chat, so let me move this over. I'm wondering if all free at a certain point in time means it won't be free in the future. Okay, so that's a great question. Dan, right now, those 3 platforms, I can tell you that pretty much everything in the Microsoft Computer Science Framework, you could do the entire thing for free. There are so many resources in that framework. And if I have a few minutes at the end, I'm going to show some hidden slides that are in this deck. I'm not sure I'm going to get time to actually show it, but in every single domain, you can run the entire thing for free. That's what it was set up for. What I meant when I said at a certain point in time, when you look at the Minecraft Education Edition, most of the time people say, I don't have that. I don't have access to that. I can't get it for free. And Microsoft is in the process of changing how that's offered and what it's offered through. So I don't really have time to delineate how that's offered right now. But what I can tell you that I'm going to go through some slides at the end is we're going to talk about how you can get into the Minecraft Education Edition for free. But there are plenty of other free resources throughout that computer science framework that you can run the entire domain and learning process on free products. So I hope that answered your question. That's the only question I see so far. So I'm going to go ahead and keep going and move to the next phase of the deck. So this next set of resources that I want to talk to you about has to do with computer science and data science and is offered through the Microsoft Imagine Academy. The Microsoft Imagine Academy is now offered free everywhere on the planet if you have subscriptive services. So it's very accessible. The nice thing about Washington State is that it has been legislatively funded for the last 13 years. So you have several experts in the field of how to access it and use it. And you can usually be teamed up with another teacher who's been using it or an expert who helped write the curriculum and those types of deployment barriers that you might run into. So I just first want to say that it is locked down. The next resources that I'm about to tell you about are locked down. They are not publicly sourced, but you do have access to them, and they're available through the Microsoft Imagine Academy member site. So you would go to the member site. You would need a Microsoft account. It can be a school account or a personal account, but you need to know the difference and you need to click on the right link. And then you would sign in with your credentials. On that sign-in page, you can create a Microsoft account if you don't already have one. This screen right here is the screen that hangs everybody up. As soon as they get to this screen, they say, oh, I don't have admin credentials. I don't have access. You just don't have access right this second because you have not entered your ID and your program key, which again is free to you. It's building based. So all teachers in the same building would use the same member ID and program key. So if you're upper level administration in a building, you could get this information and download all the curriculum and disseminate it to your teachers, or you can just simply disseminate this ID and program key to any teacher that you might think would want any of these resources. At the Imagine Academy member site, not only are there the computer science and data science, but all curriculum within the Imagine Academy can be downloaded from here. I've put Lisa Speltz's name and email on here at Microsoft.com. So it's v-Lisa Speltz with a Z at Microsoft.com, and you can get your member ID and program key from her. And you don't need to remember this deck or these slides I'm showing you, because she will send you sign-in steps as well. Once you get in, there are tiles that you'll click on. So the quickest way is to click on Classroom and then explore the learning paths. You can see in that right-hand graphic, on the left hand of the graphic, all 4 learning pathways are there. And then you would click download the English option and get the information you need. So there might be a question, what about different languages? I have French-speaking students, or Spanish-speaking students, or whatever. This almost all, not almost, but all curriculum that Microsoft offers through the Imagine Academy is available in 16 languages, and some are available even more language. So that's a little different pathway. You would go to Classroom, then go to Curriculum Downloads, then you would be in the big, large filtered area, and you would choose your language first, and then choose an area of study or a product family. So at the Microsoft Imagine Academy member site, their information is delineated in 4 pathways: productivity, which is all of the MOS, Microsoft Office Specialist curriculum. They've got a computer science pathway, a data science pathway, and then an IT infrastructure pathway. I am going to barrel through these so that we don't run out of time, but I just want to make sure that you know what is available to you for free, because there should be no hindrance to teaching computer science other than your own insecurity. And trust me, I've been there. I had them. I was freaked out about teaching computer science. And literally there were some weeks when I was just a day ahead of the kids, or even more. The kids were ahead of me. And as teachers, that's our strength, right? Our strength is leading these kids to greatness. And if you've got a kid in your class that knows something you don't know, or knows more than you know, bring them in and let them lead. So just know that these resources are to make your life as a teacher easier, as far as lesson plans, projects, grading criteria, and all those things that you need administratively. They've already been laid out for you so that you don't have to reinvent the wheel. So here we go, fast and furious through the Microsoft Imagine Academy resources. Previously, we spoke about the Microsoft Computer Science Toolkit, which includes the Microsoft Computer Science Framework, which has just K-12, an entire framework with all the free resources and all the domains. So these are the drop and teach curriculum pieces that are available through Imagine Academy. So you have Make Code Arcade, which truthfully was supposed to be a pretty grandiose thing. It was supposed to include 4 units. Those did not all get fully developed. There are 2 full units available that you can teach through that. And you can either teach it as a network browser-based situation, or you can add tangibles onto that, real things that they program and make them do things. So that's a great curriculum. And hang on one second. My computer must not be plugged in all the way because it just gave me a little notice. So let's make sure my connections are tight. And there we go. Technopreneurship is a web-based curriculum, teaches HTML, CSS, and JavaScript all together in team collaboration. You actually create a web app and you reach out to somebody who needs a web app. It's got Scrum technology in it. It's got leadership collaboration. It teaches students how to build a product, revisit the client, restructure the product. It's just a fantastic curriculum. It comes in a OneNote product and everything is there that you need. Introduction to Python, also download and run with. It comes in a OneNote format. It comes with a teacher OneNote and a student OneNote already put together for you. All the lesson plans are there. The videos are included. It's just very well put together. I will say that I have a favorite CS teacher who I bounce a lot of stuff off of. And the one thing that he said that piece was missing was the collaboration. There's not a lot of collaboration built into the Intro to Python from MSIA. So just know that you might need to augment resources for that. Or we have a different solution that I'm going to go through here in just a few minutes. Computer Science Principles is a course there. Software Development Fundamentals is a course, and then HTML5 Applications is a course. This is just a slide that kind of breaks them out. And then this Make Code Microbit, that link is publicly sourced, and the Make Code Minecraft is a full curriculum that's publicly sourced, and then Make Code Arcade you need to get through the Imagine Academy. And I forgot to take my fall 2019 references off of there, but Technopreneurship and Intro to Python is considered intermediate, and then the Software Developmental Fundamentals and HTML are considered advanced. And I have provided in this deck for you the different domains and teaching practices that are involved in each of those curriculum packages. The first 2 units in this Make Code Arcade are really the only 2 that got developed. So Blocks Game Builder and JavaScript Game Builder are available there. And just another slide about, the different pedagogies that are taught in Make Code Arcade. Technopreneurship is from the MSIA site. And these are the different skills that the Technopreneurship curriculum includes. I'm not going to go through and read them all. You guys can see them on the screen. Maybe I should read them for the captions. So we've got digital collaboration through Office 365, human-centered design, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Node.js, Azure deployment, public speaking, business analysis, and the last one is covered up. But it is business analysis is the last one. The Intro to Python also at the MSIA site includes Python and Jupyter Basics. And we have just moved from the Jupyter platform to a new emulation platform. And so you can find that that's all been updated in the curriculum itself, but it teaches functions, conditionals, nesting and loops, sequence indexes, sequence manipulation, sequence iteration, and working with files. There is an exam at the end of this, Introduction to Programming Using Python, an industry recognized credential that students can earn. I have not actually looked to see if these MTA are on the OSPI proposed IRC list, but I will do that, and you guys can reach out to me and ask me if they're on there. I totally forgot to look before this session. And maybe someone from OSPI is listening and will comment if they're on there in the comments. HTML application development. We're talking HTML, manage the application lifecycle, build the user interface by using HTML5, format the user interface by using CSS3, and then sorry about that. My buttons are going crazy here. Code by using JavaScript. Software Development Fundamentals, I think, is the last one in that group. And there's understanding core programming, understanding object-oriented programming, understanding general software development, web applications, desktop applications, and databases. And it also has an exam aligned with it. Data science is a pathway also that has curriculum. Every single one of these bars is a fully developed curriculum that you can download and run in your classroom. Fully developed, includes all the teacher resources. Very, very powerful. And Excel and Excel Expert is the foundation of the data science pathway. And those are both fully developed curriculum that you can download and run with. Those are 2 separate industry recognized credentials that I do know are on the list for OSPI. And then these are all the Excel skills, Excel Expert skills. Database Fundamentals is a course that you can download. We're talking understanding core database concepts, create database objects, manipulate data, understand data storage, administer a database. It also has an exam available with it. Introduction to Data Science is a curriculum you can download. Basics of Data Science, data organization, visualization, analysis. Learn about becoming a data scientist. And how to use Excel and support data analysis. This was one of my favorite pieces of this, because so often we teach Excel, but we don't teach kids how to use it. We don't teach them how to use it as an analytic tool. So very powerful, very powerful. And then working with non-relational data is also a curriculum. I mean, this stuff is amazing. I don't know if you guys all knew this was at your fingertips for free, but here it is. Here we're exploring JSON. So JSON syntax and structure, how to parse and generate JSON files, how to use JSON files to load and store application data, understand the origins of XML, read and create non-relational data objects, JSON, XML files, learn differences between relational data systems and non-relational document-based data, explore XML syntax and structure, understand XML namespaces and why they're useful, understand object serialization and deserialization, and then consume non-relational data objects in software programs, how to use them effectively, learn how to navigate XML elements by understanding their relationships, and then see how XML can be used to load and store application data in files. So much great stuff, so much great stuff. And then using data in software applications, there's a whole curriculum on that. Object relational mapping, or ORM, how to leverage ORM in software applications, entity framework and code first migrations, learn how to write code to manage data relationships, learn how to write code to manage the database, and learn how to write code to manage transactions. I think we're getting down to one of the last ones, analyzing and visualizing data with Excel. So many great pieces here. I'm not going to go through all of this because I want to finish. Here is AI, data science and machine learning essentials. This is all about AI. So here you are learning how to use AI, learning how to apply it. All of the this curriculum can be downloaded from the MSIA site, but it's also available in this new platform that you don't need your login for, called Microsoft Learn. It's learn.microsoft.com. And this is just an absolute treasure trove of learning that's all implemented. You get vouchers for access to Azure. This would be a whole session all by itself. Last but not least, and currently legislatively funded in Washington State, is Coding in Minecraft by Prodigy Learning. It functions on the Minecraft Education Edition platform. And so this is one of the most phenomenal ways to engage your students. I am not kidding you. I taught this in middle school, and I had one of those kids that carried around his behavior green sheet every day, and I had to sign that dang thing. And when we got into this, I could see that he was in the Minecraft Education Edition. He was actually on the coding side of things, and I could see him writing code. And I was like, hey, I have no idea how you're doing that, but do you want to teach that in class? He was so excited. I made him write a lesson plan. He presented his plan. We set a time for him to teach. His mom called me that night and said, I don't know what you did with him in class today, but tonight is the first night that he has been excited to go to bed and wake up and go to school the next day. This can just really change lives in our students and their thought processes in regard to computer science. So you can see here, it's got this big collaboration piece in that. Computer science teacher that I was talking about, he's actually using this in his classroom right now. And he just, every time I see him, he is ear to ear. The collaboration is phenomenal. It's teaching them computer science. The engagement's through the roof. I have to keep reminding them that this is work. They don't forget to turn in their evidence so they can get a grade. So very powerful situation that we have here. The Coding in Minecraft has a credential and curriculum pathway that you can see here. There's introductory credential, and then an intermediate credential, and then an advanced credential, and then there's a capstone project that comes with that. They're saying grades 6 through 9 for this, but y'all know that computer science can be introduced anywhere. And even some of our upper level juniors and seniors, they've never even thought about computer science for themselves. So this brings them into that. They have everything that you need, easy to teach curriculum, evidence-based assessment, and then the standards aligned credential at the end. It's all laid out for you in this packaged curriculum. All of the, you can do block-based coding with Make Code. You can do JavaScript coding, and you can also do Python coding over there as well. There's formative evidence-based assessments. There's a capstone credential exam, all the instructor resources, course outlines, lesson plans, everything is there. So if you're interested in this, you can pull your camera up and take a picture of this code that will take you to codingcredentials.com/WA. It's covered up by my captions, but make sure you say that you heard it from CCI Learning. I would really appreciate that. That's one of the fields on the sign up page. And so just know that the professional development is fantastic for this. Additionally, we have sent out, we're having training on this in November, and I did not include a slide for this, but should have. The training is November 8th, 9th, 10th, and 12th. The 8th will be in Anacortes. The 10th will be in Olympia, or excuse me, the 9th will be in Olympia. The 10th will be in Wenatchee. The 12th will be in Spokane. So reach out to me if I'm talking too fast, or if you're like, what was that training? How do I register for that? And I'll actually pull a link real quick here and put it in the chat. If you're curious about the coding, go to the codingcredentials.com/WA and say CCI sent you. And Peter Doherty, the product manager, will be in touch with you. He'll, even prior to the training, he will get you set up and get you going. You can explore the resources. And then when you come to the training, you can have fewer, a little more intelligent questions because you've had some time to get into it. Or maybe you haven't, you just want to come to the training and just learn there. I function a lot like that, compartmentalized because we're all so busy. So here's the last slide, just how to contact us. If you're looking for information on any of the Imagine Academy information, Lisa is your contact. Of course, I'm your all-up contact if you can't remember anything from right now because I talked too fast. I was too excited. I had too much information. Just literally send me an email and we'll work it out. We'll get you what you need. We'll get you going. But free is the word here. Free. So if they make the decks available to you through this platform, which I'm sure they do, you'll see I have a deck link there. Or you can take a picture of this slide and see the actual syntax for the deck link below it. That is it, my friends. That's the end of my slideshow. I hope that you learned something. I hope that I'm going to stop my screen sharing so that you can just see me in my hotel room. So I'm super excited. Oh, that's a great idea. Paste the link for the deck here. Yes, I will do that. I hope that you found a resource that resonates with you, that helps you bring computer science to students, because this is one of those things. Obviously now it's a requirement through OSPI, but prior to being a requirement from OSPI, kids need this information. Not only do they don't have to know how to perfectly syntax or code, but they need the computational thinking skills. They need the collaborative skills. Students need this. It's important. And everything in this deck was free. So let me do that pasting real quick for you. And I'm going to post some information in here in the chat. So hang on real quick. And I will do that for you. And then I think we will be on our way. I think I was supposed to be done at, and it's not going to let me paste in here. Let's see if it'll let me paste this. It's not going to let me paste Okay, there. It let me paste all the plain text, but there's no links in here. So I apologize that. You'll just have to copy and paste it and make it work from there. But our emails are in there. And then if you're interested in the coding in Minecraft by Prodigy Learning, which is free, it's legislatively funded, so it's free to you. And if you don't have Minecraft Education Edition, don't let that be a barrier for you, because Peter's working with Microsoft to get that to you. So that is coding credentials, I think it's plural. Yes, plural, codingcredentials.com/WA. And make sure you say that CCI Learning sent you. So take care, friends. Have a great conference. Enjoy yourselves. And I apologize if I'm a few minutes over, but if I'm a few minutes early, then we are doing great. And you can have a few more minutes to do whatever it is you need to. Use the restroom or whatever. So take care. Bye-bye.